Hey everyone! In this video today I want to show you guys how to make this super unique and fun twist on a regular old chevron. I think this bracelet actually looks so amazing. I was a little intimidated by the pattern at first, but it worked out so awesome. And honestly, I would say that this pattern would even be pretty easy for beginners once you kind of get past that initial step of like having to read how the pattern works up and placing all your strings for it. And I don't usually like the back of friendship bracelets, but I think this looks really cool. Like, almost looks as neat as the front does. So if you want to learn how to make this bracelet, especially as a beginner who wants to make something simple that looks incredible, then keep on watching. So for this bracelet, you are going to need 14 strings. So you will have 7 of your colors, whatever you want to have picked out. And then you will have your 8th color, which will be your center woven part right here. So you are going to cut 1 string for each of your 7 colors, and then for your 8th color here, you want to have 7 strands cut. So all in all, this makes 14 strings. So I would measure each of these strings about 35 inches or about a meter, and that is plenty for me to make this 5.5 inch bracelet with ties on the end. Now with that length of string, you could probably stretch that out and make like a 6 inch, maybe 6.5 inch bracelet. But to be completely honest, I don't measure my strings perfectly and I haven't for years. Now before we get into anything else, you will notice that I have made a teardrop loop, and you may immediately ask, how did I do that if this is not a mirroring pattern? And I would say if you're a beginner, I would completely ignore this. It is incredibly needlessly complicated to do this. I know that Masha Knots has a tutorial on how to do it, but the way she does it has you like splitting the strings, and honestly that just makes it even more complicated to work with. And so I quickly filmed the process of me making this teardrop loop so that you can see how I do it a little bit quicker, I guess. It makes the loop itself pretty bumpy and bulky in weird spots just because the tails aren't really perfectly in the center by the time I'm done with it, and this process is so frustrating to do, and I don't know why I torture myself every time I try to do it. Like, even when I turned off the camera, I had strings fall out of the loop and I had to like thread them back in, and so this loop is actually so ugly. But I really prefer the way loops look. I honestly really don't like having tails on both ends anymore, but I definitely just recommend, if you are a beginner watching this, that you just kind of skip out on all this. Like, you can just have your overhand knot and work up the bracelet, and it's all going to be the same. Like, you don't have to worry that you're going to miss out on anything. So this string order really isn't that complicated. On the left side, from the outside to the center here, you want to order your strings black 1, black 2, black 3, black 4. And then on the right side to the middle, it'll be black 5, black 6, black 7. Very easy stuff. This really is just a chevron with a few different steps that I am going to show you. So to start off, we're going to take this right group of strands and just leave them off to the side because we are only going to look at the left side here. So what we want to do first is take our second strand from the left, and we are going to do a backward knot onto our black strand to the left of it. And then we are going to take this same black strand that we just knotted onto, and we are going to make 6 forward knots across the next 6 strands to the right of it to bring it to the middle. And then once we have that, we are going to come back to our newest outermost left strand here, and we are going to do 6 forward knots across the next 6 strings to the right of it to bring it to the middle as well. And obviously you can see we are not knotting on our previous black string that we used in the last row. And so now for the next step, we are going to move all of these strings off to the left side, except for the 2 strings that we were just knotting with. We're going to bring those over to our right group of strands, and we are going to pull all of these strings out on the right side now. And we are repeating the exact same steps that we did on the left on the right side, but we are mirroring them. So we are going to take our second strand from the right here, and we are going to do a forward knot onto the string to the right of it. And then taking that same strand that we knotted onto, which is our black strand here, we are going to do 6 backward knots now across all of the 6 strands to the left of it to bring it to the middle. And I am preemptively going to take this black string and put it over to the other group there. And now we're going to come back to our newest outermost right strand here, and we are going to do 6 backward knots across the next 6 strands to the left of it to bring it to the middle. Then I'm also going to take this leading strand and put it over into the left side. And now we can take our right side group of strands here, put them off to the side, bring our left group back in, and that is literally the whole tutorial. That is all you do to complete the bracelet. You just keep following those steps over and over until you have the length that you want. It really is so simple once you get past the hump of the setup, and it's just the same all the way down. It is so easy to remember. But I will say, with this knotting method, just like a regular chevron, this bracelet, while it looks absolutely amazing, is incredibly boring to work up. These little segments that you knot are very small, so it takes a lot of time to work this up. Like, I even had to take a break because I just got so bored. So if you find that there might be a more efficient way to knot this, like maybe you can get away with adding more strands on the left side until you move to the right, then by all means do what works for you. But I figured these steps specifically are going to be super easy for those who are trying to branch out from candy stripes and typical chevrons. So that is all I've got for you today. I really hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make this bracelet. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.